Are we online now? Yes, we are. Whoa, hello. It's spooky time. We had some technical difficulty problems because I'm stupid. I changed my VTuber name. I changed my Twitch username like seconds ago, and that kind of broke everything. So we're up and running now, and we're happy about it. So welcome everybody. This is mostly going to be me chatting for the VOD. Um, and uh, doing a lot of baby steps here. So I'm probably gonna mess up a couple things, and there's gonna be some teething issues, and hopefully get those worked out. But I suppose first thing I can sort of reveal myself. I'm over here somewhere. Is that me? What's that? What's that moving back there? Hello? Hello? um, I know it's kind of tradition for like the VTuber thing to they show the shoes first. Is that what they do? Well, I don't necessarily have shoes. Uh, I'm more of a I don't know, a robot. Hello. Hello there. I yes, I'm a robot hanging from the ceiling, and I have a big arm. Sorry, I kind of jump scared you a little bit there. Um, hello, hello. This is fun. So I built this VTuber in Godot, the game engine, and I'm gonna be doing some dev stuff today in Godot. Kind of first, I'll show you how I made this, how I went over it. I've been working on this for about a week. I've never done VTubing stuff before, uh, and it's kind of interesting. I like playing around with this. I like the technology here. So I can hop in here, hop into Godot, and kind of show you how things are working on the back end. Cause I think it's pretty fun. Where are we at? All right, so I can hop over here, and now I go transparent. Very nice. So the way this works, I have this little dashboard here, and you see it chatting around with my with the audio amplitude. So I'm recording on two different microphones. I'm recording on the microphone that's going into OBS, and it has kind of like a nicer, like, it's got a bit of the uh, ASMR vibe to it. But the other one is the one that you see peeking here is just on my webcam, and that actually controls this little waveform um, attached to my face. Let me see. I can actually adjust my tilt here because I'm going to be looking down a little bit. There we go. Offset the tilt. I can go up and down. I'm actually a little too low too, so I need to a little too high. There we go. Center myself in frame. Um, and this is all just controlled through here, so I can. These are um controls for the window where the actual avatar shows up. It needs to be like invisible, or if it's always on top, stuff like that. Some OBS controls, and this is all being run on a Python server, which is using some image recognition software to actually track my face. And so this is tracking my face and is sending the rotational and positional values to it, to the actual game engine over a WebSocket. And there's integration with OBS as well, so everything's talking to one another here. I can actually show off the server here. So anytime something happens from OBS, it gets a code, and OBS has these opcodes. Might be hard to see that. OBS has these opcodes that say what something is, so these are all being computed back and forth. Also, we have an error that is in the audio tracking, but I don't think it's a super big issue. It's just a warning from NumPy. Because isn't everything just a warning from NumPy? Okay. And I can take a look at this here in this is the Python code that runs the server. It is a wall of text and a bunch of stuff that gets on through it. But the gist of it is we have the tracking engine, which handles the tracking data, and it sends that to the WebSocket server, which takes it over to Godot, which then moves my avatar around. And I actually have this avatar here in this little scene, and I have a Taco Bell outside. Taco Bell is toggleable. And I've been working on this for about 7 days now, so I really need to bump up this room in terms of like decorations and stuff. I'd like to have like some fun stuff, maybe stuff like chat can control. I think that'd be pretty neat. And there are a couple integrations with OBS as well. So this is all being controlled by my face and by a MIDI controller here that I have on my desk. And I can control a couple things with OBS on that as well. Like I have a mute button here on my foot, so I can mute myself. Take my word on that, because difficult to show muting. But I'm excited to try this out. I like the idea of having a... Hey, wait a minute. Hey, I know who that is. That's Booyah over there. It was just showing off the VTuber stuff. I don't know how much you saw. Good morning. It is definitely an early morning for you. Thank you for showing up and coming to say hi. Coming to see how this stuff works. Oh, you just got here. I'm still doing some like teasing stuff. I'm reading chat right now, and mostly just spouting off for the VOD, in case anyone wants to check this out later. I'm having issues with my chat overlay where it's not wanting to pop up. And let me see if I can remedy that real quick. And I'm just going to copy the Stream Elements guy right over here. Yay, there we go. We have a little bit of chat. Sweet. I need to figure out how to make that consistent across things. Oh yeah, this one doesn't have it. So what I did that caused a lot of issues was I changed my my handle like yesterday. So it had a lot of NBC all shades of me. Hello chat. Hey, welcome first time. It's my first time also. Thanks for hopping in. I'm just showing off this VTuber here that I've got, and I'm I'm trimming all of the values, so I'm kind of hopping around all over here. And there is a Taco Bell outside if anyone wants to bring me a quesadilla, right over there. I like quesadillas. Oh, do my arms work? Yes, my arms are I can control these as well. I can like hello. I can't really do a whole lot of grabbing yet, so I can extend my arms and wave them. And that arm over there does a lot of just kind of flailing about. Yeah, that one right there. There's an interesting thing. Thanks for saying it looks cool. I'm doing a lot of teasing and stuff. I've only been working on this for about a week now, so there are a lot of things that kind of work and kind of don't work. Like, it catches me blinking like maybe 1 out of 4 times. I have a manual blink button there though, so I can do a whole bunch of blinking. It really slows down the view though, so I might not want to be blinking a whole bunch. So, yeah, this is just this is all done in Godot, Python, and it uses like one Google image library to track my face, which means so I've ruined the whole thing essentially because I used a Google library. Google kind of, God, if anyone's ever tried to use a Google library, I'm sure you've tried and failed to read the documentation, which is already deprecated, by the way. Everything that they put out is like this incredible stuff that you want to use, and they keep changing it, but they don't change the documentation or keep it in a nice place. Um, Here, let me hop back to the stream view so we can play around and take a look at some stuff about how this works, and like the basic workflow. Because I hadn't really done a lot of this sort of playing around stuff. Mainly that this sort of thing being WebSockets and stuff that's sort of like multiplayer coded. In terms of Godot, I mostly do single player things and stuff that's all done locally. So there's a lot of communication and stuff involved. Mostly handled from this panel here. And I actually have my own panel right here where I can, let's see. Ooh, I need to tilt my head up a little bit because it's a little bit different there. I can offset these poses just to base off, like if I move my head in relation to my webcam, stuff like that, and I can center the pose. Let's see here. That chat is a little bit hard to read. I'm thinking we might want a background on that chat. Something for the next one. I have to break out stream elements. But really, all that there is behind the scenes is just a whole bunch of if statements and signals to connect. And we can go over that if anyone really wants to. Oh, we have a technical difficulty scene. Here, I can show that off as well. And it plays music and counts how long I've been peeing. But I'm not peeing. I'm done peeing. Yes. Most likely I'm going to be using that anytime my dogs start barking, because I usually work from home, and anytime I start speaking, like as in on a Zoom call, thanks for saying that. My dogs think it's active time instead of quiet time. They will sleep 100% of the day, except for whenever I don't need them barking. Sorry, drinking some water there. Doesn't really show up on the VTuber there. So there's not really anything groundbreaking in terms of like how this works. It's just kind of like a lot of boilerplate-ish kind of stuff. There's a socket controller, and what that is everything is communicating to the Python server over WebSockets, and from there, like that functionality is literally this one line. You just connect to the web server and it's handled all there. What you do after that is you get the messages and then you match the commands that they're given. So a lot of my professional work has been done in like APIs and stuff and handing data back and forth between programs. And you have to kind of come up with a language of, okay, command info commands or warning commands or set face data. So anytime the webcam sends me data, I calculate it as this. So if my main function has an avatar, process that face data. And really, it's just a matter of parsing. So if OBS sends me something, like I think I have a handle OBS event, if that event is current program scene changed, then do that. So like if I, for instance, move to just chatting, that'll throw a message where I have to turn off a green screen event and I have to swap over to the regular camera. And back and forth, it just sends another one to it. So basically it's like all big programming stuff is just a whole lot of really simple things that are easily confused with one another, which makes it confusing. That's that. If anyone wants to talk a little bit more about it, and I think this is going to change a lot throughout, like as I want to see it, and I kind of want to make it more creepy in certain ways, and I don't know. I definitely want to do something with the hands, but I don't think I'm gonna play around with that on stream just yet. What I'd like to do kind of for the inaugural one, other than say hi to people as they come in, is actually work on a start something new from scratch. So I've been thinking about a game that I would be interested in making. About dogfights, airplane dogfights. So something I've seen like as mini games in a lot of games before, namely like Sly Cooper 3. I really like the dogfighting in that. Sly 3 airplane stuff. Let me see if I can pull up some of these. Yeah, they were these like really fun sort of arcadey arena shooters where you would fly around and shoot people and have a good time. Oh, thank you, Wiki. That's good stuff. So I kind of want to do something like that. I want it to be able to play in the browser, and I want to be able to incorporate some sort of multiplayer stuff. So, because with all of this WebSocket things that I've been doing, I think I'm ready to tackle some actual multiplayer sort of stuff. So, in order to do that, I need to make a new project here. I love making a new project directory. It is the sign. It just starts that hyperfixation in my ADHD, and it begins the process. So let's make something called airplane. I don't think anyone can see that. And don't call me Shirley. So let's start this off in Godot. So I've got Godot 4.3 here. I'm going to start it off in. I'm going to create something. Project airplane. I want to make a game folder in here. I'm doing this in Godot 4.3, the non-mono version, aka the non-C# supporting version, and that is because if you're gonna do HTML5 exporting to be like played on the web, it does not support C#. Godot 3 does, but Godot 4 doesn't. So there's a lot going on under the hood there. A lot to unpack with that. But not necessarily anything I'm not making a pull request. This is kind of slow. I've never actually seen Godot take this long. Okay. So brand new thing here. What I usually like to do is set up my folder structure, which is really not much. So I always have my scenes and my scripts and my assets. Right now, I'm not going to have any assets. I haven't made anything for this just yet. So those will come as we get them, and new folder, materials and shaders. So first things first, we need to make our main scene. So we have a 3D scene here. I'm just going to call this main. This will be the main entry point for the game. And I can save it under scenes in a folder called main. There we go. And make a script for it. Just all this is going to be in GD script. I'm not going to do any C# or any C++ or anything like that. And on ready. Let's see if this is going to be happy for us. No main scene, so I'm going to select the current one. Yo. Okay. Fantabulous. We have our first hello world. All right, so let's get this started. First thing is first, I'm going to make a new scene called Arena. Well, test arena, actually, because I'm going to need an arena. And I'm going to throw a 3D scene in there. There we go. All right, so this is just going to give us a big empty scene. Now, first thing I'm going to need is a big old light, because otherwise you're not going to be able to see anything. That was something that they took out in Godot 4, like the way the illumination worked. I have snapping turned on. Why is snapping turned on? Are you snapping? I don't want to use snapping. You're snapping, but I have snapping turned off? Oh, there we go. Yeah, Godot 4 made it just kind of harder to see things like really quickly. So I need a plane if I'm going to fly a plane. So first things first is, I keep saying first things first. I need to knock that out of me. Is make a cube called airplane. It's going to be a mesh instance of some sort of cube. It's a box. Heck yes. And we can even be like super cool with it. Flatten it a little bit. Stretch it out. And then duplicate it. Amazing. Oh, wrong axis. There we go. It's a plane. Alrighty. So we need to be able to control this plane, and this plane needs to be able to fly around. So let's have a camera so that we can see out of it. See out of this plane. There we go. Preview this so I can see. That kind of nailed that first time. Alrighty. This is actually not going to be just a node 3D. This is actually has to be like a character 3D. Yes, it does. Okay. So let's go ahead and change that. So we can make this, we can go here to change type character body 3D. Yes, I believe that's what it wants to be. And it's throwing an error here because it needs a collision shape. So we'll give it a rudimentary collision shape over here. And it'll just be a box. Whoops, not 52. A little bit longer, a little bit longer, and a little bit wider. That's a pretty generous collision shape there. Okay. Now we need a script to control it. So I'm not going to want this to be here. I'm going to want this to be in its own scene route. So this is just part of the test arena, but I want to be able to import this plane everywhere I go and not just have to reference it from the scene route. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this branch as a scene. In scenes, new folder, plane, where it's called airplane. There we go. And I'm going to hop over here and play around with it a little bit before hopping back over to the test arena to fly it around. So, scenes, plane, airplane, we got a new script. Okay. Alrighty. So first thing I need to do now that I've started this is open the documentation. And Godot has amazing documentation. I will stand by that. It's why I am so comfortable to like, oh, he's back now and he missed it all again. The robot is really cool. Hey, thanks for saying the robot's really cool. You like it? You like me going like that? Yeah. Let me hop over to my, yes, my big 3D scene. Here we go. And I can move along the rail at the top. I can go out of the way. I'm out of here. You can't see me. I know. Oh yeah, Taco Bell. I put Taco Bell outside. I like Taco Bell, and I want to be sponsored by them. And what do they say? You should have a mood board, an aspiration board, and Taco Bell. Give me 17,000 Crunchwrap Supremes. Dress for the job you want. Yes. A robot that wants this many Crunchwrap Supremes. Not this many. This many. Not this many. This many. Okay. What was I doing? I need to make this plane fly. So it has velocity here. Okay. It has a built-in vector 3 for velocity. Fake sponsorship for the sponsorship you want? Yes. That is, I think, fraud, but I'm okay with that. We're criminals here. We're all criminals here. The kinematic character body 3D, which we're playing with here, it might be. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. You can't promote a company for no pay. Well, let's talk about the fundamentals of stalking and toxic relationships. I mean, in terms of the book Catcher in the Rye, what do you know about the book Catcher in the Rye? And do you think that author, whom I forget his name, is really appreciative for some of the press that he got? Anyway, oh yeah, I thought you just banged your JD Salinger. I thought you just banged your computer. I'm head on. You know who I want to read? I want to read Steinbeck. I have aspirations to read Steinbeck. Here, let me put my arms back up. I really need a animation for these because it's such a simple, like, I can scratch stuff. Like I got my little mantis arms. They look kind of cute. I kind of like these. Change your Twitch card to live readings and just read Steinbeck. Imagine, amazing. This guy cooking. They are kind of cute. I kind of like these. Am I in ARN control mode? So this is all being controlled by a MIDI controller. And the problem with that is anytime I switch the control setting, it will completely gas out the controls. Oh, there we go. I can extend myself here. Anytime I move the knobs again, and they're not where they were before, it freaks out. So, oh, I think I froze it. Oh, okay, yeah. The blend shape for the blinking the eye is really not optimized. But that's for another stream. Okay, so I have a new function. And this is basically going to be how you fly a plane. Physics process. This is called on the physics ticks of the game anytime it's running. So what we need to do is all planes need to be able to fall out of the sky. That's what makes them special. Not falling out of the sky. You still have to be able to, but you're only cool if you don't fall out of the sky. So what we need is a constant called gravity. And it is equal to 9.8 meters per second if you're a nerd. So what we are going to do is actually turn that into a vector 3 on the negative y-axis. Oi. I don't know if anyone else is like me whenever they code, because I assume you're all a bunch of coders here, that whenever you think someone might be watching you, you're terrible at typing. Like, I have, like, backseater syndrome so hard. So what we're going to do is always with velocity y, on every tick, velocity y is going to plus equal gravity. Actually, no. We're going to do it just on velocity because they are both vector 3s. Because that is a vector 3. And every frame, you get used to it. I really hope I do. And I'm really looking forward to that as well, because let me pull my arms back in. There we go. I'm hoping that like this kind of more casual setting is going to help professionally as well, because like anytime I would have like a code review or something like that where my supervisor was looking over my shoulder and I was like, all right, let me defend this like 2-line pull request that I just put in, and I can't type to save my life. That's going to be really helpful. So let me pull back up the documentation here for what we need to do to get it to move. Move and slide. So move and slide is, it moves the body based on velocity. So we're always adding gravity to the plane every turn. So whenever we move and slide, we don't have to pass in velocity like you used to if you're coming from Godot 3. It will just fall. So another thing that I'm going to add to our scene is a reference mesh, reference cube, just so we can see that we're falling. And confirm and... oh, I put in a sphere to be spicy. That's not going to work because it's connected to the body, because the body's the root of the scene. So let me go back to the test arena and then add a mesh instance over there. So it's not connected to the physics of the plane. That would make our debugging terrible. Explain. Oh, you're not a mesh instance. It's like, why were you giving me nothing? We'll always be debugging. Always be making mistakes like that a person who would be using Godot for the first time in their life would make. So you can always be positively affirming that you're better than that. Let's see. So let's test just this scene out with F6. And I should... Where's my other cube? Do we not have a light here? That is a little kerjankety. That's not exactly how I'd want to see it. So let me have editable children in this so I can look through this camera. That's what I want to see. There is an environment there. It was all gray whenever we launched this earlier. So I need to figure out what the dealio is there. Let me try launching this one more time. All gray. So where is our environment? I guess it wouldn't have the environment there by default. Sorry for that. I had to think through that in my head. So I guess let's add an environment to this just so it looks a little bit nicer. I really like the default environment that they're showing in the background here, but they don't actually let that be the main environment whenever you load it up. So I had to load an environment, give it a sky, and give that sky a sky texture in order for it to actually work. So if I hop in over here, we've failed again, chat. We have failed again. Debugger, what do you got for me? Delta is never used. Oh, yeah. Anytime you don't use a variable, if you don't have that warning turned off, it'll want you to make it a private variable, denoted with an underscore. And I just don't... Anytime it's like one warning in the debugger, I acquiesce. Otherwise, it's like, screw it. If it's all warnings, we're good. Because we break rules here. Let me go back to this and make the children uneditable. Yes, this is what I wanted to see. Disabling the editable instance will cause all the properties to revert. Yes, I changed it to have a new environment. And if I go back to... Oi. Excuse you. Now that it's not an editable child, I can't click on it. I live in pain. Did I see that just fall just now? I don't know. Because my directional light is not lighting up this cube at all. There we go. I want this. And what I'm also going to do is move this back a bit and up higher. And I'm going to take the camera distance here. It's already maxed out, 8192. Heck yeah. I'm going to max it out like crazy. Run this. I want to see that. Okay, it's just happening so fast. We added like Mondo gravity to it. So I've messed up. I've neglected to do math, which is a cardinal sin in programming. So that warning should have been a good warning. Delta is the time lapsed between the last physics process tick. So we all know gravity works at 9.8 meters per second. I was doing it multiplied by, instead of seconds, by like milliseconds. So if I multiply that by delta, because you can do vector 3s by deltas, by floats, sorry. Now we should have a better sense of, there we go. Very nice. So what I would like to do is give some thrust. Let's just give this kind of plain-ish variables here. So we need a variable called thrust. We need a variable called lift, because lift is going to counteract the gravity here. At least it's going to try to. Because if you, let's say, rolled the plane over, then lift is not working the way that you think it does. So you can't just like apply lift like you apply gravity. Gravity always points down. Lift doesn't necessarily do that. So thrust, let's make it 0. And on our processing, which happens as often as you can. Actually, I don't know if I want it on the regular process. I could put it in physics process here. Handle inputs. Oh, I don't need that. Because I'm not declaring the function here. I'm declaring the function here. Hopefully, this is self-explanatory enough that this is where any inputs that I have, like from a controller or the keyboard, will get handled here. So, let's see. Let pass for a second and go over to my project settings. Fresh meat 911. Oh, that I 911. I'm so sorry. I hope no one ever calls you that again. But welcome to the chat, and I'm sure you'll be leaving immediately. Scully Redhawk, nice to see you. We were just making faux pas. Nice to meet you both. This is my inaugural stream, so feel free to be interactive in chats. Feel free to lurk, and if you want to see anything or have any questions about anything, just let me know. I'm trying out a little VTuber guy I've got up in the corner here, and I'm just having a good time making a little game here. Arena shooter for I get lots of different pronunciations and whatnot. Yeah. I'm gonna do better to not jump to that one. Whenever I say 911. I'm making a little arena shooter here for an airplane. Is it? Oh, yeah, so in Japan time it is freshman is the most common. Fresh meat was like the first thing that I saw. Like, I mean, like I was confident in my saying of fresh meat, and then I was riding that that wave of confidence, and I wrote it straight into an exit sign. Booyah says it is September 11th. Not in the States yet. Booyah's over there living in the future on JST. What do they call the Japanese? What's the Japanese time zone? I'll get there. Oh yeah, JST. JDM. They should call it. 6 more hours to go. Let's see. So what time? It's 3 p.m. here on the West Coast, Best Coast. So where would that put you, Fresh Meat? Let's talk rough geographic locations here. I need to add a new action to my Godot map called Thrust, which sounds a little sus, if I'm gonna be honest. And I want that to be my X button on my joypad here. Plus 3 hours? Plus 3 hours? Oh, Ontario, Canada. Awesome. I love an international viewer. Nice to have you. Ontario is Whitby in Ontario. So yes, it is Whitby. So my favorite band is from Whitby. My favorite band is Protest the Hero, and I was gonna go see them. They've been around for donkey's years now. I was gonna go see them in August, but I got COVID like the day before, and I had to give up my ticket. They're one of my favorites. Yeah, bummer. So we handle our inputs here. If input is action pressed thrust, then we can do stuff with our thrust here. So delta should be passed to my inputs here. Yeah, I was super bummed out. The tickets were really cheap. So tickets like now like just seem so crazy expensive. Like for like I went to go see Baby Metal. And that was like through Ticketmaster at the YouTube theater, and it was freaking awesome. But the tickets were like, I don't know, $120 or something stupid. So going to see like a little prog metal band, like, you know, with 100,000 followers on Spotify, like I love a $20 ticket where I'm just in like a crappy bar. I really like those. They really help the wallet. So we need to apply thrust to our little plane here, and we need a max thrust. So, yeah, the prices are nuts now. It's ridiculous, and I mean, I know there's like a big push in the society now to break up the monopoly, which is Ticketmaster. But the problem is it's not enough of a monopoly, because there's like Eventbrite and like half a dozen other things. Like a lot of other venues are moving towards they've kind of done us a favor in terms of everything's more expensive. Let's just make everything more expensive. And you know, just on top of inflation and stuff, how it is now. Let's try max thrust equals 5. So we're gonna clamp. Thrust is going to be equal to clamp thrust 0, because you can't have negative thrust. I mean, you can, but we're not there yet. Wait. I typed that wrong. Thrust and the 0 variant and max thrust. All caps because it's a constant. True. True chains is what a friend of mine used to say. And I Googled that. I was like, there's no way you came up with true chains. And I guess he did, because I had never heard anyone say that before. And I've been trying to like strong arm that into common parlance. And so far, no biters. So I need to add thrust to this. However, this isn't going to be as easy as with gravity, because gravity is always pointing directly straight down. My plane is not always going to be pointing directly straight forward. So what I need to do is copy and paste some code that I've written before. But the principle is always the same. Get the transform of the camera actually it's going to be the z-axis of the plane, and apply thrust to that vector. So thrust is always going to be pushing exactly where we're going. And lift as well is always going to be pushing on the y-axis of that vector. So let's make a note of that as well. Apply lift to the z-axis of that transform. Excuse me. Dilly-doot. Dilly-doot. Okay. So I actually have over here, I'm looking at some of my notes here from before. Actually, I'm looking at some old files here, where I have done this before, to the point where I did it once and it worked just fine, and now I copy and paste that code everywhere I go. It follows me around. Where are ya? Let's see. I'll do that in just a moment. Let's see. This one. There we go. There we go. Oh, no, that's not it. That's from Godot 3. So, I make a lot of games compulsively. Oh, what is this project? So sorry. I'm making an arena shooter with for playing dogfighting. So, if you look over here, I have this awesome, slightly Judeo-coded plane here, and I'm going to fly it around, and there's going to be a gun on it, and I'm going to be able to shoot the bejesus out of other planes that are flying around. The other goal is to make this browser playable, and to put in a little bit of multiplayer and maybe play with chat, because I think that'd be super duper fun, you know? Yeah, I'm saying. Okay. I am reading, and I'm hating it. There we go. So is anyone else here working on any sort of projects? I know Booyah actually gave me a shout out last week while he was on one of his game dev streams. And a lot of people came over for that, and I am very grateful. And I think a lot of them were also game developers themselves. Is anyone working on anything exciting? I know that Booyah is working on Alpine Lake. If anyone is into cozy sims and just cozy games in general, feel free to go check him out. I don't complete anything, but I play with Unity. Like, you are me, except you use Unity more than Godot. Like, I will just start stuff and get super duper excited about it and just like sink hours, like days into it. And then, you know, not do it. It just won't hold the same interest to me anymore, and I'll forget it exists. So I think I did was forward vector was, but you can't code, which is why you don't finish anything. So in Unity, that's a lot of C#. I think like essentially exclusively X#, or Microsoft Java, as we say when we're snotty. I tried a couple, I tried my hand at a couple like tutorials, like way back in the day. Yeah, it is C#. And actually, Godot has some support now for C# and stuff if you have the right engine for it. And I played around with it. I come from a Python background mostly, so Python was my first language. I've worked professionally in other languages as well, like C++, but a lot of like HTML, JavaScript, things like this. A lot of it was Googling, frankly. Like, even after I had got jobs and like I would come across code that I hadn't seen before, is just like you get good at knowing what to Google, because the value in like saying you're a good programmer is really lost whenever you go to a new place where 90% of what you're going to learn is how to work with their code base. So some of the places that I've worked at, have used Unreal Engine, which uses C++, but they had this basically a wrapper to stick to level designs and whatnot for now. That is super valid. Like one thing, like I was running into issues with. Let me pop over to my just chatting screen here. Is I found one picture that I kind of liked of like I just typed in sci-fi horror art, and I was like, how do I make this? What do I do? What I don't have like a vision. I have just kind of a vibe that I want people to feel and how I want to feel, but I don't know how to translate that visually. So I have this room and it was based on just a picture, and I essentially just copied that picture like directly. Like I need to fill this room out and I have no idea how to do that. And I'm not super worried. I mean, you just kind of throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And that's kind of what I'm hoping is going to happen here. And to my point about like programming, you're going to have to learn something like fundamentally different everywhere you go. Like even if you were like the greatest Python programmer, the greatest C# programmer, everywhere you're going to go is have their own bespoke implementation of it. So, and that's what you're going to be learning. So as long as you're upfront with what you don't know and are able to, use what resources you have to find the solution and knowing what you want to do more or less, you're gold. I mean, that's the most intimidating part, is not knowing something where people around you do, I find. Because like once you can look at this giant wall of like, I mean, this isn't a giant wall of code yet. Once you can look at these and be like, okay, I'm not going to know what that is directly. I need to dig through that. I need days to dig through that. Once you're, that's an easy thing to overcome, I believe. That for me was, but the real challenge was kind of the saying, I don't know how you guys have done this with Unreal Engine, and I need someone to teach me. So I think I've got it right. The global transform basis is Z-axis. I'm gonna throw you a bone, fresh meat for the Canada. I'm gonna call it the Z-axis for you. Velocity. Oh wait. Plus equals forward vector times thrust times delta. I think. I have no idea what is going to happen. And in fact, I'm going to turn off gravity to see what happens. So, let's make sure I have this right. No problem. We love our Canadians over here. I want to actually go there and try. To be fair, Z is the letters. Wait, to be fair, Z is the letter, Z is the sound. I think it's still appropriate then because, wait, Z-axis? Yeah. Z is the letter, Z is sound. Yeah, so basis is, never mind. You know what? I think we should go to war against Canada. And I'll tell you what. This one guy that was in my chat who corrected me, and I think I didn't need to be, but now I am unsure. Let's try this out and see what happens whenever we press X. I can't see anything because you're down for war. Abed said dead. Ed. Oh yeah. Well, the second thing you said was bed, so I'm down. I love a good nap language. I had an idea for like a Futurama style gag where they went to not so ancient Egypt and they, instead of hieroglyphics, they had hieroglyphics. So it was just regular hieroglyphics that were like 3 frames of motion, and they moved around. I'm going to add like 14 more of these cubes so I can have a reference point for what the heck I'm doing. Because right now I'm flying around in an empty void, and that is not great. Oh, wait. I can change this? Hey. Sky. We want a panorama. We want a procedural sky. Right? Get out of here. New sky. What kind of sky? Procedural sky. Thank you. Wow, Godot. That was like 14 clicks. I'm appreciating how long that took. Okay. So we're seeing. If we're flying, pressing X now does nothing because I don't think... Ooh, yeah. I know what I did. Thrust equals... Ooh. Ah, yes, that's what I'm doing. Clamp thrust plus equals 1 times delta. I wasn't actually incrementing the thrust value. Pardon me. Assignment is not allowed. Oh. Dang. Our P thrust is equal to that. Wait. No, it can just be the thrust value. I had it right the first time, and I was not confident in my abilities. And that's what happens. Okay, so don't recreate the thing. This is me having backseat coding issues because I have to prepare my body to go to war with fresh meat in Ontario and probably go to Pizza. That's a Toronto thing. And then catch a live show from Protest to Hero and go to Tim Hortons and get Timbits and have ketchup chips. Because ketchup chips kind of sound awesome. They sound like a tomatoey version of salt and vinegar chips. Does this work? We don't know. Chat, we're hauling ass. Okay, awesome. That worked. I have no clue if that actually is going to work at all, because I think it's going to create an infinite there's going to be an infinite thrust issue. I see this. Doggy. Why have you sent me, doggy? Also, this is going to be showing my one old human age and my young streamer age. I have no idea how to use emotes in Twitch chat. Like, I know like 5 that like some super popular streamers use, but other than that, I know nothing because I am old and a fetus in terms of this at the same time. Type a colon and start typing words. There's no matches for colon. Oh, wait. Sandwich. Holiday Santa. We are chatting now, boys. Father Christmas. Oh, snap. Let me turn back on gravity and see what happens. Let's see if I still fall out of the sky like I'm supposed to. Gotta respect it. That's a lot of text for one of these. Okay, so how am I gonna go about... What did I say? Feck? That reminds me of... So you've posted a pug, and you've posted feck, which reminds me of there was this... It's like... Oh, you get more emotes whenever you sub to channels? Oh, so I have like Giwi emotes. Giwi was the last person that I subbed to. Do I have any from Giwi? Shout out to my other VTubers. Hey, send it. Send it deep. Well, that's what we're gonna try and do. We're gonna try and send this airplane. So I need, and this is gonna kind of suck. Why did I choose to do this? We have thrust worked out, and let's. All right, now let's settle down. What? Oh, you got auto modded? Yeah, you're gonna get auto modded. Oh wait, what? Let's see. This is my. Thank you for being my first auto mod. Held a message for reason. Sex-based terms. Allow will post its chat. Dang, man. How actually could you? Oh no, I. Okay, so I'm gonna permit this because you sent. It's deep and it has balls on it. So we're gonna just settle down here. We're making a playing game. I guess this is about warfare and stuff. So you won't anymore, you promise? Oh yeah, I know you won't. Oh, I thought that was a. You said promise without the e. I thought that was the Canadian spelling there. We need lift now. So I don't know how to do lift, but it's just broken fingers. So here's what you need to do. You need to take your head and just bash it into the keyboard and see what happens. And then if you get automated for that, I have to ban you. So this guy's face is ban worthy. I can't type and talk at the same time. Okay, calculate lift. Calculate lift. Okay. So this should return a float. I mean, GD script is what is called a loosely typed language, or non-strictly typed language, but we like to have a little bit of rules here. 5 minutes, cool. Well, you're gonna miss out on how to make a lift for a plane. I tell ya what. And upward vector. I'm going to try this. It's called an elevator. Ailerons and elevators and rudders and stuff like that. I need to be able to calculate that, but basically, after I copy and paste this, because I can only do one thing at once, on the WED value, I need to have yaw, pitch, and roll. So you don't live in a flat and eat bangers. Calculate. So it's really interesting that you made that pun, because the things on the planes that actually create that are called elevators. Elevators make lift on planes. There we go. Okay. I can't type and talk at the same time. And this is terrible. Why do I have 3 spaces here? I already did this. I don't need these quotes anymore. So what I think this is going to be. Do we need the delta value? You bet we do. We might not actually need it. Maybe we will, but we're going to find out. So this is going to be we have to find out the velocity. It really has nothing to do with the thrust. This is going to have to do with the velocity along the forward vector. Let's see. How in the heck do we do that? I don't know. So we're going to get our forward vector, and I'm just going to get it twice in the same call for right now. And then we have to find the length of the vector between forward vector and given velocity. So I don't know if our basis is normalized. That's what we have to figure out. So I'm going to hop in the documentation, and I'm going to go find basis. And I know how to find that because it's going to be in Node 3D, and Node 3D is going to have transform 3D, and that's going to have basis. So, basis. I don't believe these are normalized. So let's just find out, shall we? Instead of all this math crap, let's just print the forward vector length and see what happens. Not all code paths return value? Yeah, they do. Shut up. Let's rock and roll. Okay, so I'm going to be taking a look at the print value here and forget that I didn't call that. And then see what happens. I don't live in a flat and eat bangers. I live in an apartment. Oh, it's a 1. It is normalized. Unless... Oop. I knocked my microphone there. Let's see. I'm going to Google it. Because that's what you got to do. If you don't know math, Google math. It's like if you don't know how to tie a knot, tie a knot. Booyah Grandma is promoting you in other channels. How dare he? Gasp. Hey, thanks for chatting, though. First time chatter. I do appreciate you coming in and watching me Google stuff. I'm the guy in Times Square. You guys like comedy? You're personally outraged, and he's fired. Well, don't you think... Was he hired? He was hired? Yeah, I was going to say, hiring, firing, we may not have the authority to even talk about that. Whether or not... Like, we have to go to the HR about this. Because, one, you want to fire him on a Friday. Because, Bill Lumberg, like you do. But let's talk about financial compensation here. You can fire someone all you want, but you can't be made whole by firing him. You need financial compensation. If you or a loved one has been harmed by Booyah Grandma promoting me in whatever the heck stream he's doing, call the number on the bottom of your screen. And I will charge you like 30% of what we weasel out of him. Anyway, I was Googling something. Fight amongst yourselves for a moment while I type, because I will end up typing everything I'm saying out of my mouth. Banana, 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 banana. I did it. I typed. And I realized what I need to do is find the dot product of these vector 3s. And the Yagish, and Finn is fine. Appreciate you being here. You've stumbled into something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Me doing vector math on my game in Godot and not really knowing how to do it. So I need to find what I actually think I need is... So I have that forward vector, and I believe that is correct. So what I need to do is get the linear velocity by doing... No, I don't know what to call it. Forward velocity is going to be my regular velocity dot producted against the forward vector. Okay. Do you hear me squawking? Y'all been chatting like crazy. He was hired. He's my moderator, but we'll be speaking to the real power behind the throne tonight. Will he get severance? I will sever parts off. Yes. This guy's got jokes. Okay, I'm going to lurk. It was nice meeting you. Thank you for this. People just call me Yag? Well, nice to meet you, Yag. Yagish, Yag? Um, I am making my streaming debut today. So that's why this is a pile of hot muffins on a dirty sidewalk. Because I have no idea how to compose myself or what I'm doing. But I'm having a good time doing it. Booyah's bringing a lot of good friends over here, and we're just having a good time. I'm doing great. Aw, thanks, Dad. He's my actual dad. I'm from his loins. Not really. He, no, I won't follow that. Anyway, let's print the forward velocity and see if we're on the right track in terms of what we want to do for what we want to do. Positive affirmations. So this should raise by a whole bunch. And it is. Okay, so we're up to like 20. Pardon me. Pardon me again. I keep burping. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness, grapefruits. There we go. I haven't had, like, caffeine. Why am I burping? Carbonation. Speaking of, hydration break, everyone. It's hot out there today. Okay. We need to calculate lift. We have the forward velocity. So, we have our upward vector, which we got basically the same way that we got the forward vector. So we know we're moving along the z-axis whenever we're going forward. So we know we're moving along the y-axis whenever we are going upward. Show off my Taco Bell? Oh. Oh, this guy wants to see my Taco Bell. So let's pop over. There you go. So this is my Taco Bell. So I'm in a space station. Oh, also, the global rotation of my head does not match the global rotation of my body. So when I turn this way, oh God, it's like The Exorcist. Oh God, I'm gonna puke. Someone give me a beefy Crunchwrap Supreme. Yeah. We are normally out in space, but now we are out in Taco Bell. So whenever this is what we call in the VFX industry a matte painting, ladies and germs. Ladies and blokes and non-binary folks. We are all inclusive here. If you don't want to make something, you draw it. And if you don't want to draw it, you Google it. And if you don't want to pay the Gettys for it, you copy and paste from ScreenShare. And, that'll get you 90% of the way. Anyone else like Taco Bell? Is anyone else? You know what? No, this is going to be a White Castle. Can we make this a White Castle? I'm going to do that. I have to log off to do that. I need a couple different streams. So White Castle doesn't exist where I live, and I've been having to... It's not good. This is not cuisine here. The problem is I'm addicted to it. You know, you can be addicted to bad things. Like I'm addicted to Taco Bell. Let's see. Forward vector times upward vector. I don't know. It might have to be the dot product of that. No. Forward velocity, yeah. And I've been trying to recreate the White Castle experience. So what I do, if you are west of the Mississippi and you don't get White Castle out here, what you have to do is go to McDonald's, which just as bad in terms of like quality and like why is inflation causing this to cost $8. But here's what you do. Order on the app. Do not order face to face. They will mess up this order. Go there and get only a double cheeseburger with diced onions on it. Just diced onions. There is something that happens whenever you communicate this through the speaker box where everyone in there will just catch on fire and they will give you the wrong order, exactly how you did not want it. You have to do it through the app because that goes directly into their ordering system. And then you will get a rather disappointing little burger with nothing but onions on it and cheese. And it tastes 90% the same as a White Castle burger. It doesn't have like the same like explodey crispy niceness that their onions do, but it is the close I can manage. Do you hear me squawking? All right. Hacks. Heck yes, it is. Like, there are so many other like dirty food chain things that I can't get out here. Forward velocity times upward vector, right? Upward vector times forward velocity. Is that a float? Does that give me that? Yes. Okay, I had to do this as first. And I've been trying to make do so many other ways. Let's see, what is the other thing that I just can't get out here? What a burger. They don't have what I lived in Texas for like 2 years and they had Whataburger there and it was fantabulous. And that's fine. I don't need to be eating that much meat. We could all stand to eat less meat in life. Well, beef particularly, because beef is really bad for the environment. Let's try lift here. But they got me hooked. They got me hooked on the this should only be forward. Oh, it's negative. Okay. So I need to make that what I need. Yeah, I'm hooked on the honey butter chicken biscuit from Whataburger. If anyone is out there in Texas where they have a Whataburger and want to make $98, DM me. Because I have a plan. I have a contingency plan for getting some dry ice to you and a nice styrofoam thing. And you mailing me that thing. All right. So I think we have our lift right. So what I need to do, I have no concept of what most of these chains are, but I like hearing about them. Okay, so Yag, let's unpack that a little bit. You're not super familiar with these brands. I take it that means you're not Amerikitski like me. Do you mind if I ask where you are from so we can equate, we can learn together? Also, we're not returning a float. We're returning a vector 3 now. If not, that's okay. You don't have to share. But because the United States is so freaking huge, a lot of like chains, like, you know, Tim Hortons, I guess, is everywhere. And you're in Russia? Dude, no way. I think my neighbor is Russian. She always talks to me as if I know Russian. She's like she's spreading the good word over there. Let's see. I don't really know a lot about Russian cuisine other than we get a lot of memes. Let's see. I know a lot about vodka. And I know a little bit about how it was mostly Russian settlers on the western, like the panhandle, not sure what you call it, of Alaska. And so that there's like an interesting cultural dynamic out there. Not sure what that equates to in terms of food. So does Russia have a kind of like greasy spoon, like a ubiquitous chain of restaurants that like everyone knows, everyone is kind of like okay with, but is just not great? We have a ton. We have McDonald's, KFC, and BK. Everything I know about restaurants from listening to the audiobook A Gentleman in Moscow. Well, I know a lot about Russia that might not necessarily paint the truest version of Russia. So my major is in film, and I studied a lot about like Russian cinema, like Sergei. No, not Sergei Eisenstein. Actually, yeah, it was Sergei Eisenstein. So Soviet cinema in like the 20s was like super profoundly impactful on the film industry. Up into the 50s, post World War II, and then you have, we call it in America the Red Scare, in terms of communism and hyper nationalism on the American side of things. So for that like 40-year period until like 1992, the culture in America was basically very anti-Russian, and to the point where it bred like this weird nationalism. Like we now say that in schools in America we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Like they added uh like a token to Christianity in the Pledge of Allegiance, um, strictly because of the Cold War and to be fundamentally against communism that way. So, like, a lot of Americans' built-in history, like most of it, a lot of it comes from like the media and the film industry, and uh, so much of what we're taught in culture to believe and is innate in us is from that time period where Russia is not looked upon very positively. Very different vibes throughout like the 90s and like the 2010s era, where most of it turned towards North Korea as like kind of the generic villain. And America does that a lot with its media, like kind of generic villains and stuff. Nazis were very popular in film and media and stuff like that, but just kind of as a generic thing. A lot of bandwagoning and stuff like that. It's Freshie! Welcome back! We have a war to fight, you and I. Sorry, I'm just yapping. Chat. Yag's here. And I'm hydrated. So, let's add this lift to our velocity. So, lift equals plus equal times delta. I don't think lift is actually working the way I want it to, and I haven't even implemented it yet. So, lift is equal to lift times delta. So, are there equations for lift? Yes, there are. Lift equation in aviation. Let's Google. Yoink. What do we got? Lift coefficient. So that is going to be an arbitrary number. Ooh, this is something from NASA. Ooh. You have experience in lift equations. Fresh meat. Explain. You're on the spot. Put you in the hot spot. If you say anything other than this, I'll be supremely disappointed. Because I'm going to actually you. I'll be checking your homework. That's velocity squared wing area 2. Okay, so in terms of this, I can just make this all up, I think. Put that back where I found it. So velocity plus equals lift times delta. Oh, you meant our war? But you do have a single prop license? Okay, so my rich doctor uncle has a single prop license, and one of the guys that I worked with at my last place had one. And these were both men in their 60s who could afford to maintain that. Isn't it like an absurdly expensive thing to maintain a private pilot's license? This isn't what I want. I need to be printing out my global position so I can see how high up I am. Oops. I pressed wrong button. Okay. So at some point, lift should counter out gravity there. Ooh, and we're doing it. Chat, we're doing it. Chat, we're flying through the air. Chat, look at that Y value. We're in the stratosphere. Okay, this works. You need hours to maintain, so unless you have a job or your own plane, it can be very expensive. One of the people I knew, my uncle didn't have his own plane. He was just kind of like a rich hobbyist. He was like primo bachelor doctor. needs more fields of particles. It kind of do, don't it? Um, Actually, the problem with that is, Booyah, I would have to make these things. No, you're right. You're right. I can just. Dang it, Booyah! I got a freaking dang old scuba doo badoo make some particles. But the other person that I knew who had a pilot's license, fresh meat, was he had a plane that he had to store. I think he had like a Cessna or something like that. Um, what is the plane? Yeah, it's the Beechcraft Bonanza. What is it? Fresh meat. I think that's what it's called. Don't fly that. As your worried mother, fresh meat. Don't fly that. No, the because that is the plane that every rock star gets in to die. Like I think Buddy Holly, Randy Rhoads, and uh, Stevie Ray Vaughan all died in a Beechcraft Bonanza. And if you fly uh, helicopters, don't get in a Robinson. I worry about you, fresh meat. I need you hale and healthy for uh, whenever we take to the streets of Ontario, and I've got my Timbits, and you've got I don't know, uh, I'll bring you a Whataburger Frisco melt. No, uh, a patty melt from there. I need to make materials here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put. So my initial thing I was gonna berate Booyah about. It's like how that's not gonna work. You can't just put particles everywhere. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick them on the plane and have them fall out of the plane's butt. If you know what I'm saying. So they're always going to be over here. Are you emitting right now? Explain to yourself. Oh, wait. I actually have to make the particles. They keep changing everything in Godot. I love open source software, but everyone has so many good ideas. You need to be able to have one moron that's making all of the decisions. So you can blame one person for it. But a smoke trail is cool too. I was going to say make the stack. That's what I was going to do. But the thing is, the particle system would have to be like ginormo. So either way, it has to be a child of the plane. You know what I'm saying? So, it can. What I was just going to do was make the velocity negative to the velocity of the plane. Parent of the plane to make the spawn and not move. Not move, yeah. You could add it in front of the plane. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But like, if it is parented, if the plane is the parent of the particles, the particles aren't going to move the way that I want them to. So, oh wait, I guess I can just be kind of hacky about it. And that's the best way to be about it. So let's, parts, plane. Let's see. Plane is. I'm discovering it in real time, chat. This is amazing. Parts. Ooh. Yeah, it's not the same one, but I'm gonna move it. Particles. And then every frame. Yay, we're learning! Physics process, I'm just gonna put oh, pardon me. I'm having the weirdest burps today, and I haven't eaten anything. Parts global position is equal to plane global position. I don't know why I'm doing that, actually, because that doesn't make sense. It still has to work. I believe it still has to work in global space, because otherwise I don't know. I'm just eliminating all doubt. Where in the freaking cheese balls is the drawing options? Oh, draw pass. Pass one. We need a cool sphere mesh, and we need it to be dinky. We need it to be 8x4. We need it to be low res. Oh, get him to the doctor. He's gotta go. 0.4. Look, guys. So I'm just gonna send it and see what happens. Okay. Now, as I'm pressing this button, yeah. Actually, we have no friction. Ugh. Okay, yeah, we need friction. we need a little bit of friction. Constant 4 even. Wow, that's not normal. Yeah. It's almost 4 p.m. and you haven't eaten anything yet? I did eat oh yeah, I had a sandwich. I mean, I haven't what I mean was I haven't eaten anything that's going to, be gastrically distressing. Therefore, I don't know why I'm burping. I haven't had a tasty sody pop. I haven't had anything that is working up a storm down there. I haven't had any fermented grapes. I haven't had any fermented beans. What is I typing? Okay. Velocity times... Wait, divided by friction? I guess you would divide it by friction. Friction factor. So what this is going to do is it's going to slow the plane down more whenever it's flying faster. So friction times the length of our velocity vector. So the faster that we're going, the higher our friction factor is going to be. Because whenever you're flying at like 800 miles an hour, you're essentially flying through a cake because of fluid dynamics and all that stuff. So, how would I go about implementing that? I don't know. Does anyone have an idea? Let's use the chat. Let's throw it out. Anyone have an idea? The best way to implement a float friction value. And I think we're getting it fairly well. To a velocity-based vector 3. If not, we're just going to wing it. But I'm trying to encourage some interaction here. Not that we haven't had good interactions this entire time. Because I think we have to break out my favorite operator. He doesn't know. Get a load of this guy. He doesn't know. The friction factor. So I'm going to change this print function here that I don't have anymore. Did I delete that? Man, I am a trendsetter. Let's see. I want to print the global position. Yes, we have. I almost got myself banned already. Yeah, this guy. Hey, he was out of the gate. He came in hot, fresh meat. Almost got himself banned. He was like, "I'm gonna throw caution to the wind," which is, while I'm 30,000 feet in the air in my single prop airplane with my fashionable scarf, and I assume, I don't know, a giant Rice Krispie treat that he made himself. And whatever you do on planes, like I assume, what do you do, like, whenever you're just alone on a plane, other than clinch the entire time? Like, I am at the behest of engineers, keeping me alive right now. Gotta find the arcs right away. Level position, add a space because printing in Godot doesn't automatically do that. And velocity length. There's a lot of redundancies here. So I'm grabbing the basis Z and basis Z twice in the same tick. And we'll optimize that as we go, but right now we've got so much overhead. It's rad, fam. So velocity is 0.25. And we are not moving at all. We are very, very slowly moving forward. Very, very slowly moving down. Actually, are we moving forward or are we just moving backwards? So, voice things voiced. We need to... You're like flying the Titanic. I am. Near, far, wherever you are. Would you... Wait, that's Celine Dion. She's French-Canadian. Everything out of this guy's mouth, he is just flying the Canadian flag so hard right now. Hold on, I'm going to call, instead of friction, I'm going to call it poutine. There you go. Oh wait, everyone's... Is that your avatar? No, everyone's avatar is... Oh, I think it is... This is a me thing. I have to go check it on Twitch. Wait, no, I don't. Oh, I can't... Oh. Yeah, he's got the maple leaf. He's learning. This is privileged information, folks. Okay. All right, so our friction factor is way too GD high, as we like to say. So, this is happening every single tick, and I think that's causing us a little bit of an issue here. Delta? I might not be adding in. Well, I know I'm not adding it in. I just don't know if that's going to be... 23 years in the Army will do that to you. He's a military man. And I'm gonna refrain from making all of the same 4 jokes about... Wait. No, those would be jokes about the French. Not necessarily... there's a little bit of crossover there, but... Not in Ontario. That's in Quebec. Quebec has the more Frenchy population there. So, what does the Canadian Army do? Just chill all day? And be agreeable? And, I don't know, clean the tanks? Something like that, yeah. We're so multicultural here today. I love that. So, everything that I do really keeps the friction value... The velocity length is basically the same the entire time. And that is kind of how I know I'm doing something wrong. So I'm going to try this again and take a look at the friction factor, because that's what I want to debug right now. The friction factor is the same. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know if we have this right. So if I press X and I go forward, can I change that friction factor a little bit? I don't necessarily know. I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to see how this plays and how this feels, because this could just be fine. That's the problem I often run into, is like, I want my systems to work. But they don't necessarily need to work perfectly as long as they feel nice. So, let's try this out. Pitch can we just add an axis? Okay. Fake it till you make it. That's right. That is so much of what you have to do. Listening for input, joystick up. Okay, so I do have to weed these out into individuals. Roll left, roll right, pitch up, pitch down, yaw left, yaw right. Okay. So let's plug these values in. So this is, if anyone's not used to Godot, this is just where I'm setting the input actions. So roll left, I want on my right stick to the left. Roll right, I want my right stick to the right. Pitch up, I want my right stick down. And we're going to have to find a way to change these so that people who don't want inverted flight controls can change it. But you know, we'll get there. And we're going to do R1 and L1 for the rudders. Alrighty. So we're calculating the inputs. We have lift, yaw, and roll. It does... I'm already shadowing that variable. I shouldn't be doing that. Pitch input. No, I just want pitch. Okay. So calculate the inputs. If input is action pressed, pitch up, pitch down. So how are we going to do this? Pitch needs to be a pitch, roll, and yaw as inputs both need to have a range of -1 to +1. So, but since we have a binary input for that, we just have to do a little bit more. I don't want to make it so that you have to just get the axis. Except I am. Screw it. So pitch is equal to input get joy axis 0, joy axis right y. Okay. And then we're going to copy and paste these for yaw and roll. Actually, just for roll, it's different. For yaw. Yaw! It's yaw time. Pitch. No, so it'd be yaw left is equal to input. Actually, no, we weren't called to input directly. If input is action pressed yaw left, wait, so yaw equals, no, minus equals 1? Oh, wait. No, this can't be right that, because then that would, the value would be cumulative because we're calling this every frame. We don't want to do that, so I like things to be as robust as possible, but I'm not going to make it so this time. Yaw equals -1. Yaw left? Oh, it has to be a string. There we go. And then if it's yaw right, we're just going to make the yaw value +1. Y'all didn't leave. Yaw was a good guy. We lost him too soon. I actually picked up when I was living in Texas. Like, I never used to say y'all, but that stuck after I lived in Texas. So let's see. how are we gonna go about pitching and rolling this? Uh, pitch is equal to that. I started saying y'all ironically one day in 2012, and now it's just a part of me. Yeah, I was just around so many people that were saying y'all. I say it all the time. Like I have variations on y'all, like y'all's is, and here's my favorite contraction ever. Y'all must've. Even I use y'all. Everyone uses y'all. But my thing was just that I didn't use it before I moved to Texas. I don't live in Texas anymore, but you can take me out of Texas, but you can't take the Texas out of me. So velocity plus equals blah 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 blah, and rotate along what axis is that? I think it's X. Rotate vector 3 1 0 0. By roll. Okay, let's see what happens whenever we run this. All right. Holy bejesus. Okay, that is way too much. And it's on the wrong axis. So delta. So here's what we can change. We can just change the axis there. Now we're flying. Yeah. We are in. We start the game in a flat spin. And then we like flip Team Rocket style into the air. I'm going to absolutely puke. Okay, we need to change. All right, so we know it's that axis. How are we gonna go about changing the camera? Because I think the camera has to always be upright. Or at least we need a little bit of drag on it. Vector 3, now we know it's -1 on this axis for pitching. Wait, vector 3? Oh. Yeah, give me for the capitalization. What a nerd. All right, so whoa. Okay, my dead zone is I didn't add the delta in. Alrighty. And we're going to need a little bit of delta. So let's copy these. How do we copy that out? I don't know. Let's just do it. So the raw pitch input. So pitch. Wait, if absolute value raw pitch is greater than a dead zone, let's call it 0.1. Pitch is equal to raw pitch. Else, pitch is equal to 0. And we're going to do that for roll tambien. Let's see. So, raw roll. That is a rural juror sort of nonsense there. Roll. Oh, I have to declare that as a variable. All right, so we have our raw roll, and if our raw roll dead zone meets the threshold dead zone, then roll becomes raw roll. And we're going to rotate along raw roll over here. But, of course, pitch was the one that we were having the issue with, so what ifs? Let's launch this and see what happens. Uh, now I need to reverse that. All right, we are falling out of the sky. Okay. We are gimbal locked, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no. How do we ungimbal lock? Um Whenever we rotate along that axis. Oh no. Pull the cable? Yeah. Dial 411 when you're gimbal locked. I'm glad Fresh Meat is my co-pilot here. We've got an army man who knows what he's doing. Ejectocito, cuz. I so, I love Too Fast, Too Furious. Like, there's my favorite scene is uh after like some sort of come to Jesus moment. Paul Walker and Tyrese are leaving the police station, and Tyrese is like, "You let your man go, huh?" And Paul Walker's like, "I said forget about it, cuh." And he just doesn't play it cool at all. He's just such a dweeb. Like, who? John Singleton directed that movie. Boys in the Hood directed that movie and is like, cut, we got it. What is wrong with this place? Universal saw that and was like, cut, print. We're shipping that. I would have my agent complain. He was away that day. Yeah. Who guest directed Too Fast, Too Furious that day? That was take 49. I said, forget about it, cuh. I'm tired, John. I don't want to say forget about it, cuh, anymore. I don't know what cuh means. I heard it in a Snoop Dogg video. What are we doing? We're gimbal locked. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. How to stop gimbal lock? Let's just Google that. So what I think I need to do is use quaternions. So I, frankly, just do what I'm told by Stack Overflow whenever it comes to quaternions. Yeah, I can't use vector rotation. Yeah, I kind of. There's a bridge that I was always gonna have to come to, and we've shown up 2 hours in, and we're already at it. Let's see. Ooh, someone's already got it. Well, we're gonna copy and paste this one here, chat. So good coders code, great coders steal. That is something that everyone should always prescribe to. Func calculate angle, delta, and I'm just copying and pasting this bad boy in here. Oh yeah, tabs to space. So let's take a look at what this did, because someone had already had this issue and didn't have the same variable names as me. Roll speed is not declared. Yeah, I don't have a roll speed. I don't know if I need that. Wait, roll. Wait, no. Roll is already defined. Okay, so that's how they did it differently. I'm grabbing this directly from oh, they must have been doing it on an old version of Godot as well. Yeah, because you can't get the bases that way anymore. So let us RT the FM. We need to find a way to how to get the quat quaternion from a transform. Actually, why am I looking here? I need the transform. Transform 3D. Thank you, Papa. Quat. Basis. What I'm doing here is reading the outputs of all of these to see how the heck to get these. I don't know if that will allow us to do that. Or do you have to get quaternions from, or do you have to just Google it? Godot, get quaternion from transform 3D. Ooh. Oh no. Oh no. It's the AI. The AI has begun. No, I don't want that. No. One, that's for a completely different version of the engine. You dumb. And two, that's a lot of reading you're expecting me to do. I don't want to do it. I can't get... Well, I wonder if... So, what this was suggesting was an older function that is... Yeah, because this is absolutely written in Godot 3, and we're in Godot 4. So they've made some changes. So, like, quat is what they used to call it instead of quaternion. So... rotation is well, let's try to get Godot to trick us into telling us what this does. I don't know if no, not that. I don't know if by declaring it as a quaternion type, it'll only give us the stuff that returns quaternions. But in absence of that, what I'm going to do is try and find let's see here. So this is the documentation for 4.3. I'm actually going to go back to 3.5. So around the time that was written, and see if I can glean anything about how to get the quaternions from these transforms. Anything here? Basis quat. Okay, get rotation quat. What is this actually doing? Returns the basis rotation in the form of quaternion. So you get Euler if you need Euler angles, but keep in mind quaternions should generally be preferred to Euler angles. Okay. So a quaternion is 4 floats. Do we have to ask the stupid robot? We might have to ask the stupid robot what it thinks. Let's see here. I try not to use ChatGPT for code because it is always wrong in my experience, and you're going to spend more time fixing it. Kind of like what I'm doing with this Stack Overflow thing already. Like I'm already just trying to figure it out here. Quaternion vector 3 Do we even need this basis from I'm going to see what happens if we just make this a vector 3. Global rotation degrees. Actually, just global rotation. What happens here? So if we calculate the angle, no, we don't want. But here's what it's doing here. It's transform basis is going to be based on that. Is this even gonna freaking work the way we want it to? It might not even do it the way we want it to. Times delta. We are in the weeds on a very ugly part of this that I don't want to be in the weeds on. And these are the kind of moments where I'd be like, ugh, why did I choose to do this? There are these factors here that I wasn't anticipating, and I kind of want to. It's very pretty to be hard on yourself. Well, it's not like hard on myself in terms of I'm not being the font of like enjoyment that I need to be, because the way I like work the best is through also thank you for that sentiment, by the way. The way I work the best is allowing myself to hyperfixate on stuff. Pause for the helicopter overhead. I wonder if you can hear that. And I have to be like completely interested in stuff in order to coast through doing it. I'm pretty bad at like just forcing myself to do a thing. So I had to kind of trick myself, and this is something I've learned over the years of, you know, having attention issues. How best to that's a non-existent basis constructor. How to basically trick myself into being interested in something that I might otherwise not be. First, let's stay hydrated about it. So, and read the friendly documentation. Because actually, as much as I like it, I mean, I do like it. I do like the documentation. It's pretty good. Quaternion. And let's see how we construct these. And read a little bit more about them. I mean, I suppose if that's what we're doing, coding here, then you have to run for a minute too. Kids are having issues. Ah, fine. Take care of them kids. Be a good dad. Glad to hear it. See you when I see ya. Alrighty. At ease, soldier. Right. Let's take a look here. Angle 2 quaternion from. You can get the quaternion from basis. Basis get quaternion. Get rotation quaternion. Alrighty. Oh, we can't make it from the quaternion. That's what I was confused about. Let's see. Where did I put that window? So we want. What do we want? We want the basis from a quaternion. Can you just do that? Non-existent base construction. Also quaternion. Quaternion times quaternion? Explain. You are a quaternion. Basis times vector 3. Current rotation. Oh, because I changed it there. Ding dang darn. So, still what we need to do is make sure that this is a quaternion. Global rotation is not a quaternion. And that's fine. We just need to make it one. And we need to figure out how to do that while also being kind of dumb. Like, I am kind of dumb. Pardon me. So, we have these axes as vector 3s, and this one as a float. Wait. Oh, darn it. I'm looking at basis. Okay, so we have quaternion from basis. Is that simply all that you have to do? From basis. let's try this out. Quaternion is equal to quaternion global rotation. Wait, no. Global transform basis. Quaternion? What have I done? Oh, not spelled correctly. Basis constructor? Basis. Excuse you? Excuse you. You say that's how you can create a basis? Let's see. Why is that not a appropriate basis constructor? Oh, equals basis. So let's take a look here. So we can get it from a quaternion, but a quaternion multiplied by a quaternion is not a quaternion? Combined rotation. Current rotation. Well, let's make an intermediary one here. And I'm wondering if we're not just getting hit by Godot's inferencing here, where it's like, that's not a quaternion, even though it is. And let's double check here to make sure we can have operators here. Quaternion by quaternion? Yeah, we can multiply quaternions by quaternions. That's no problem. And if we make a basis out of the intermediary quat, are you happy? Why are you not happy? I'm just going to run it and see if it crashes. You were fine the whole time? Sir? Okay, well, let's try to gimbal lock ourselves again. Okay. Chat? Huge? Amazing? I think we ungimbal locked ourselves. Alrighty. Alrighty. That's looking pretty slick. Alrighty. Here's another thing that I want to do. Let us put this all into our main scene here. Test arena? Gravy. So now whenever I press... this is just something for me. I had been running this test scene. Okay, great. So now this will be running from our main program. So I want to have a little debug process. What I like to do here is if input is key pressed, key minus, keypad minus, keypad subtract, there we go. Get tree, quit. So what this is going to do is, and I'll have this run from my process function, is anytime I press the subtract button on the right side of my keyboard, the game will just quit. So I don't have to like struggle with having the mouse captured and stuff like that. It's just always running, and it's like a main interrupt for the entire thing. And all you have to do is just take that out whenever you ship the game, even though I've never really shipped a game. So let's take another look at our airplane function, because originally I had just rudders in there as the yaw. So what I want to do is basically do it the same way. This one's going to be even worse than raw roll. Raw yaw. What this is going to do is allow me to turn the plane left and right with a stick. There we go, there we go, there we go. And that means I also have to add it over here. So this, ostensibly all this does is it converts our Euler angles um, into quaternions, which, through magic, essentially. Uh, ooh, wait. Is this going to be allowed? Because, frankly, I don't know much about how these work. They just magically stop gimbal locking from happening. And where is this? This is going to be forward, left, da. Oh, yes. Along the y-axis. So I think... Wait. It's also really hard to tell. Oh, wait. It just kind of works. I guess these are normalized too, so that doesn't make much of a difference whenever you add a third thing in there. Multiplying it by this, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. I wonder if I have to normalize it. I don't know. Either way, that should be... I think that should be negative. It might not need to be negative because it's yawing the wrong way. It did need to be negative. So now that works exactly the way that I wanted. So, awfully sorry, chat. I just bumped the mic stand. So what we need to do now is add a hilarious amount of thrust. So our max thrust is 5. Let's have that be, I don't know, 20. And see what happens. Because I want to fly this little dude around. Because we're falling out of the sky. I'm going to point straight up. And thrust. So right now, I am flying in a very unstable direction. Okay. Holy bejesus, chat, we're flying. Okay, so it definitely doesn't control like a real plane. Oh my god! Actually, it kind of does. This is kind of fun. Let's test this out. So the plane needs to have a much wider field of view. Let's make that like 100. Just to see. Oh wait, that's not the actual screen. There we go. Yeah, we're falling out of the sky. Okay, so our negative velocity is pretty high, and I think we're too far away from everything to see. I need to input these vectors a little bit better. So, also don't know if I like how it's pitching. I think I want the pitch to be on my left stick. So I can do that very easily. And I'm also going to add in some variables here. Pitch rate, or yaw rate, and roll rate. So these are going to be like multipliers, just to add into the function. So like my roll can go faster, my pitch can go a little bit faster. Because right now they're just limited to one, positive one and negative one. So these are just going to be multipliers. Pitch, I want to be able to pitch a little bit faster. 2 and 2. What is? And what did I also want to do? I wanted to make the other thing on my left stick. So pitch, I want on joy axis left. Okay. And down here, this is where I'm going to add those multipliers. So yaw times delta times yaw rate times roll rate and times pitch rate. Great. We run this, and I'm going to flip around. Oh, I did just change it. Of course. So that gravity is really hard to counteract initially. Roll, I want to do harder. Okay. So this is flying more like a quadcopter than a plane for sure, because you can't do half the crap that I'm doing here. And it's actually kind of fun. Uh, Sorry if anyone's barfing while I'm playing this. Um, but it doesn't control the way I wanted it to. So I don't know how I want it to though. I need to play like some comparison games. So one game that I really enjoy playing, like flying around in. Yeah, this has to just be on one stick. This can't be uh on two separate ones like that. Um so joy axis left. And this one's gonna have to be right. One of the games that I really enjoy flying the planes around in is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Um like I would always like, instead of just doing missions, one thing that I always like to do is spawn a Hydra, the Harrier jet, and just freaking bushwhack in the thing, like fly it through trees and try to do stunts and stuff like that. Stuff that didn't really have anything to do with the game or anything like that. Okay, so we are very, very maneuverable, like to a unplane like degree. And I'm trying to think, are we more of a rocket than a plane? I don't know. I think though, it's time to add some freaking guns to this thing and sort out all that mess later. So what I need to do is go back into my project settings, and instead of y'all left being these, I'm actually not using any of these. So I'm going to just get rid of them. Thrust, I'm going to delete that one. Thrust is now going to be the right joystick. And flaps, I guess I can add in there, but really what I want to do is fire. And I'm going to add that as this trigger here. So what I want to do here is add a Gatling gun sort of situation. So in order to do that, that's going to be, let's just add a node 3D, little 3D node there. And, what do I want it to be? Just do like a little, it doesn't need to be anything. Just make things out of cubes. That's what Booyah always tells me. It's like, don't make anything unless you make it out of cubes first. Just keep it very simple. But what does he know? I'm going to make a cylinder instead. So this wants to be 0.01, 0.01, and just one height. And I'll set the transform so that it's actually not askew. And move this guy over here. No, we want wing-mounted ones. Those are sick. So where is that transform? I like things to be like even if I can get him. Negative 0.5 and negative 0.85. Oh. And I will duplicate that over here. So 0.85. Lit. Dude, look at this thing. He's evil. He's gonna, I love him. So I need a new script for him. And let's call it Gatling gun. Alrighty. So I don't know. I haven't planned this out. We need a fire command. And whenever we fire, what happens? We need a projectile. Okay. So scenes. That's an amazing aircraft. I call it the Stingray. It's the pooping Stingray. Number one best artist? Heck yeah, dude. Dude, that's a polished draft. What do you mean? Okay, so you'll appreciate this. You'll dig this the most. So, I think I would love to add some like real single prop like World War II era ish aircraft in here. And my grandfather in the Air Force, he flew P-51s, but what I really want to add, I mean, I will add the P-51, but my favorite plane from that era, without a doubt, is the F-4U, baby. Spitfires and Hurricanes. Spitfires are cool. Spitfires are like such a, I don't know. I like a lot of British stuff like Top Gear, and they are always talking about the Spitfire. Iconic. Yes, this thing is freaking sweet. I need that drop wing look. That is so cool. Like, heck yes, heck yes. I'm going to absolutely save this for later because I'm gonna model the plane off of that. It's freaking sweet. I just love that like that drop down forward look. And the wings like folded up so they could like fit on boats and stuff like that. Let's see. We need a new folder called Tracer Round because is it really a Gatling gun if you don't have some freaking tracer rounds popping out of it? So let's make some tracer rounds. Now, what we have to do, we are in Node 3D already, so we just need a mesh instance of a capsule. That's a bit of a bulky suppository style weapon there, but we just need you to rotate like 90. And we want it to be fairly long. We don't need it to have this kind of resolution. I'm going to be shooting like 30 billion of these, but yeah. I basically just decimated that thing in terms of poly count, and you can't tell. So the mesh, let's add a material to it. Let's add our first material. So it's going to be a standard material. We want it to be PP yellow, but we don't want it to be shaded. So we don't want it to have shadows. So this is going to like light up in the dark if we make it at night. And I'm going to go ahead and save this material. Save as in, of course, in our folder structure, we do have a materials and shaders. And I'm just going to save everything in there at once. I want to keep this fairly small project. Tracer round. Neato. And does it need a script? Yes, it does. Okay, tracer round. Function. Physics process. Let's see. We need to initialize it in a way. So our velocity, and that's going to be a float. And we'll give it 1 of 10. And oops, I didn't put an equal sign there. And we'll, the speed it flies. So let me take a look here in 3D and see which way this needs to move. So I'm going to open up my transform here. And, okay, that's along the Z axis. The Z axis, I'm sorry. But we need to move along the Z axis. So let's take that into consideration. I gotta have, I'm so appreciative to my audience, and I will pander to them incessantly. Let's go back to that script there. So, physics process. Every frame that this is called, we are going to translate along that z-axis 3 0 0 1, so z-axis, and we're going to multiply that by velocity. And I want to have a lifetime. Yeah, lifetime tick. Actually, let's just call it life tick. And we'll make that equal to 0 and have a constant max life is equal to, let's say 3 seconds. So what this is going to do is going to move forward every tick, and then life tick is going to increment by delta. And this is, so delta is how many milliseconds between the physics ticks. So once life tick increments to 3 seconds will have passed. So max life, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. There we go. Life tick plus equals delta. If life tick is greater than or equal to, max life, we're going to queue this to be free. So what means we're going to kill the bullet after it's been there for, 3 seconds. We don't need it to be flying all over the place for 50 billion years. And the way Godot does it, things happen in a certain order. So whenever you queue things to be free, that just, instead of just calling free on something, that puts it away to be done at the end of the frame. Just sometimes there can be issues if you delete a thing like in the middle of the processing frame. Initialization, everything needs a velocity value. Well, it actually guess it doesn't need it. So you can prescribe that, otherwise I'll have the default velocity value. Velocity is equal to p velocity if p velocity. Insert, why is insert on? Okay. Is that right? Is that cool? Alrighty. We like it. We're happy. Alright, so let's go back to the gun. Call that the gun so I know what I'm clicking on. And on the ready function, I want to have a bullet resource. So what I'm going to do is whenever this scene is ready, bullet resource is going to be equal to that tracer round. There we go. So bullet resource. All right. So whenever we fire, we're going to create a bullet instance is equal to bullet resource instantiate. And we want to give it a velocity. So I'm just going to give it an arbitrary velocity of 20. Don't know if that's going to be way too fast or way too slow. It might shoot in the wrong direction. But we're going to try. So this is in the gun, and whenever we... one could only hope. Yeah, we're going to have incredible backfire on this weapon. As soon as we open it up, it's just gonna explode, which is actually fairly era accurate for what these things did. Handle inputs if let's see. How do we want to do this? How often do we want to call fire? Gatling gun. Trigger held. It's going to be a Boolean value. False. Okay. Function, and this is going to be on the physics process. Pass for a second because I know I need to come back to that. Bar fire cooldown equal to how many seconds do we want between uh, let's say 300 rounds per minute is a lot. I'm just gonna do very very short amount of time. Fire cooldown is 0.2. Actually, I want them to be kind of beefier. Like I want to, no, that's fine. So if trigger held, pass else, fire tick. Fire tick is equal to 0. I guess it would depend on what your targets are and if you're going for realism-ish. I am not going for realism at all. I'm going for a visceral sort of like arcadey fun. Like I want these the Gatling gun to feel like big. Like my favorite chain gun is the one in Doom 3. That thing is awesome. It feels like you're just firing bricks out of it, like dunk 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 dunk. So fairly slow in terms of fire rate, like not like minigun sort of stuff. But visceral. Fire tick is equal to 0. Okay, so fire tick plus equals. Okay, so this is where I do it. So 0.05. Okay, so every 4 ticks it'll fire. If fire tick is greater or equal to fire cooldown, fire cooldown, fire tick is equal to 0, so this will reset it. And we will fire. Okay, great. So that's how we handle. That's how we're going to handle firing. So what we need to do is control trigger held. So in airplane, handle inputs. If input is action pressed, and we have fire, we also need gun. We need guns. So on ready, let's add those guns. Guns is equal to left gun and right gun. I need to add the script to that right gun because I don't have it there. Was this in plain? Gatling gun? Heck yeah. Left gun and right gun. Okay. If action is fire for gun in guns, gun trigger held is equal to true. If we're not holding fire for gun in guns, gun trigger held is equal to false. Let's say this. Let's get it to a point where we can fly around and shoot a gun and probably call it. I'm I'm a little worn out. I feel my voice is starting to go, and I don't want to push it too much on the first go. And I think that's a good way to cut it out. So let's get these guns working, and then we can fly around and shoot. And I'll probably call it there as a really fun first stream. So we have our tracer rounds here. Let's crash and burn. Let's see what happens. So right now I'm holding the trigger and I'm getting a ton of errors. So good. We love errors. Handle inputs. Oh, did I remove those? I think I might have done. Airplane input thrust fire. Oh yeah, these shouldn't be this way. Y'all left. Okay, yeah, it was just calling that every frame. So it wasn't as bad as it looked. Oh yeah, I declared it, but I never make the actual bullets. Bullet instance, so what we're gonna do is we need the world here. So we need to get the tree Um, so we need to add these to the world. And in order to do that, we need a variable called world. And we need to add that here. World is going to be equal to test arena, I think it's called. Yeah. Node 3D test arena. And this is a little bit hacky, and this is something that we should definitely address first thing whenever we come back. And I'm thinking like maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I'm good with my days for streaming are kind of like free in terms of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. My wife works from home on Monday and Wednesday, so I like to have some time where we can be quiet in the house so she can do what she needs. Trace around. Oh wait, no, it was the Gatling gun that I needed. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so get tree root world, I think is what we want. Get tree. Actually, is it get root? I forget what they have done. Get tree, get root. World? Add child? Oh, wait. Add child here. There we go. Bullet instance. Okay. I love how you describe most of what you're doing. Makes following along without coding knowledge possible. Thanks for that. Yeah, no problem. So I am really happy to go back over anything, explain why I did anything, and I like to help in that way. And it also like kind of reaffirms like my knowledge of it, in a kind of affirmation sort of way. And yeah, if there's anything like you want to see more of, like in terms of coding, yeah, just let me know. I like we're gonna probably touch everything in here at some point in terms of disciplines and stuff like that. And it's a pretty narrow field in terms of what we're gonna be doing with. In terms of tree get world get root, I have to Google it. Okay. Get root node. Access root node. I forget. I don't want to do the just // get scene, get root, get node. Wait a minute. You're not far from hello world. Well, I mean, take a look. We had to do that here. So that's the hello world in this, and what it comes down to, I don't think this is much different than being like good at an instrument or anything. Like I'm confident to say like I'm fairly good at guitar, and I think what happened, like what the big pivotal moment for me was I would have an idea, and I could make I'd have a thought like ding 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 ding, and I could get on the guitar and go ding 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 ding. So really, you're just translating thoughts into what you need to do with your fingers to make the sound come out. Not really much different in terms of coding. Now with guitar, that's performance. That's time based. Like I have to play it exactly in time. With coding, what's the rush? I mean, you can Google things. Like you can ask people. Like this fire sequence can be here for a week. You want to fire, so find how to do that. I mean, that's like 99% of the coding and stuff is being just a resource finder. And eventually you do that enough, you memorize how to do it. But I mean, I've got Google open on my other monitor. So if you've got a goal, you can do it. All right. So we're firing, and are we firing the wrong direction? We might be. So let me change this to -20. So whenever we instantiate a resource, so like I'm gonna whenever we instantiate it here, over in trace around, it calls this init value. This init function. So on initialization, why they don't call it initialize, I don't know. Um, and we're making this basically an optional argument to pass in called velocity. But by default, it's nothing, null. So if it isn't nothing, and I can be a little bit more explicit here. So if p velocity isn't equal null, velocity is going to be p velocity. So what I'm going to do there with the airplane script is whenever the Gatling gun script, I'm going to make this negative 20 because I believe my bullets are flying out backwards, which is kind of hilarious. And ooh, there it is. They're up there. Oh my god, that is kicking ass. That's awesome. Okay, here's the issue. What we need to do is move those bullets in the right place. So they just aren't attached. Well, that's the thing. They shouldn't be attached. So what this is doing here is if this were attached to the plane, anytime the plane moves up and down, let me go over here so you can see. So these guns are attached to the plane. So I move the plane around, they move with it. So even if the bullet is shooting that way, like let's say it's shooting off into the distance towards that rock, and I move it up here, the bullet will move up and down too. So what I'm doing here with that silly long piece of code, where's gun? All this nonsense is just a way to attach it to the root node that everything is going to be attached to. So it can live in its own little world. What I need to do in here is everything has a coordinate system, so that bullet instance global transform. So this is position and rotation all grouped together. We're going to make that equal to, and this is being called from the Gatling gun, to self global transform. There we go. And we don't need to call self. That's just implicit through here. So whenever I do that, let's see. Are we shooting backwards now? Now we're shooting. I had it right the first time. Or I have it rotated a weird way. So I do have it rotated a weird way. So let's see what we need to do here. So these are going to be moving along the z-axis. What we're doing here is we just need to change that vector within the tracer round to go forward, and let's fuss around with this a little bit. Now, what this might cause to happen. No, it's not that one. Let me set the project settings so it's always on top. Always on top. Window, always on top. Close. Okay, let me restart it. So this is a handy debug thing. Where it's always on top here. We're shooting here. So if I change this axis to Z and save it, it should update here, but it's not the axis I want. Save it. Okay, so we see we're shooting like to the side, looks like. So we might need negative Z. At which, that shouldn't be right, but, oh, there we go. Sick. This is awesome. Okay. Dude. No way. Okay. That is awesome. Yes. All right, so I'm going to fly really fast and see what happens, see if we can like break this. I want to see if we can fly faster than these bullets. Oh wait, I'm not even pressing that anymore. I forgot I changed the thrust button. So I don't even know what direction we're falling in right now. Yeah, we can basically paint with it. So in terms of speed, it's pretty fast. We're kind of flying along with it really, really well. It is shooting really fast. What I want to do, and let's do this before we call it an evening. Let's have a cool little offset, like in Quake, where, okay, man, you gotta go for a few hours. No, totally cool. Thank you for your time. Catch you on the next one, hopefully. Awesome, dude. I appreciate for hanging out. And yeah, I think I'm kind of with you on that, and might need to wrap this one up. So we've got a pretty cool proof of concept here, where we have a little plane that flies around, and I need to adjust the thrust a little bit more. Yeah, definitely a lot more thrust necessary here. But yeah, we can fly back here. This is cool. This is freaking cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out on the inaugural stream. This was a lot of fun. I'd like to do it more. I probably hop on and work on this. I'm gonna work on this a little bit more tomorrow. You whipped this up pretty quick. Well, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do. Can you raid day one? I don't know. I also don't know how. Can I raid you? Also, another thing. Thank you for the follows, everyone who added this. Raid finish line. Just a sec. There was I had an overlay that should have popped up. I said thank you. Because that was going to be how I noticed people were following. I appreciate that very much. There we go. Let's raid. Finish fine. Do I have to at them? Oh, yeah. Invalid user. Excuse you. Red. Oh, just like that? Okay. Yeah, let's raid into him. Oh, okay. Sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. This was so much fun. We'll do it again. All right. And so let's raid into Finn is Fine, see what they're doing. Thanks, guys. And you can probably hear my microphone be on for like 3 hours after this because I don't know how to close the stream. Thanks again, Booyah. Thanks, Fresh Me, for hanging out, and everyone else who got to chat today. I'll check y'all later.